Okay. Hi there, I'm Pamela from Castaway Weddings and good morning. Welcome to our coffee chat. Today I'm going to be joined by Dr. Jenny from Urban Care Clinic and also Catia, the general manager of this beautiful space, the Seyyida. So today we thought that it would be really super helpful to talk to you about what makes Zanzibar such an amazing destination wedding place during the Covid-19 pandemic and beyond. So, as you know, globally, the current situation around COVID is kind of like this. Everyone has their own rules, each country, each county. The rules, the regulations vary so widely. They vary so widely that there's a lot of confusion around what's happening. And so we wanted to just get together today to just kind of talk to you and to let you know what the situation is and what you can expect if you come and have a destination wedding in Zanzibar. You know, when we talk about a destination wedding in Zanzibar, things are actually not as complicated as you might think. In fact, I'd probably say that they're quite simple. But we're going to break it down for you so that you feel comfortable about coming to Zanzibar. Currently, what we've seen is that we have seen that the number of tourists is increasing.
Yes.
I mean, do you feel that on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, you can see it on the streets, on the beaches. They have been quite empty March, April, May, right?
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
basically the whole island for us.
Yeah.
But right now, slowly, you can see more and more foreign faces, which is also good because Zanzibar is highly reliant on tourists. So it's nice to see that there's a little bit more activity.
I can see even in the hotel the booking are increasing, so yeah,
that's
positive.
That's amazing. And also we can see that the amount of airlines coming in now is increasing. We've even got a new airport, which is amazing. So that's great. So we will see even more new airlines coming in. So we're seeing a trickle come in, and we're seeing that there's hope. And I'm really excited about that. And I feel that now is the time to tell you about having a destination wedding in Zanzibar, and whether that means having just you coming as a couple, whether it means someone coming as for doing a micro wedding, so maybe up to 10 people, or even beyond, because we are blessed with so much open space, beautiful beaches. So I think that this is perfect time for us to talk about that. So if you're ready, shall we just dive right in?
Yes.
And see where the conversation takes us.
Yeah.
Oh, look, our coffee's arrived. Lovely. Asante.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Asante. So what I would like us to do is let's try and imagine what it would be like to be them. Let's try and imagine that you're the bride to be, or you're the husband to be, or you're a guest, or just a general traveller to Zanzibar. So for me, I would imagine that you would want to be as safe as possible. You'd want to know that you feel safe and secure, and that people are in control of the situation no matter what happens.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the journey,
if
where would you start?
I were a bride, the first thing, just before basically planning the journey, maybe booking it, I would like to know the regulations in my own country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The regulations in my own country regarding COVID. What do I have to do? What do I have to look out for? But also the regulations in my destination country. In this case, now that we're speaking about Zanzibar, what do they have in place? What are they requiring me to do on arrival, on the way going back? I need to know this for myself. I need to know this for my guests in order also to know how many guests I can invite.
Yes, exactly.
Like for example, right now, according to the current SOPs, Zanzibar is not requiring visitors to have a COVID certificate upon arrival.
Yes.
But airlines sometimes still request that, so it's important to check at the different points.
Yeah, it's like, can you imagine turning up to your flight, and then they say, oh, but where's your COVID certificate? And you're like, but I didn't know. So now is the time for you to be checking constantly, regularly. It's important. Don't just check once, twice, 3 times. You've got to be on it. You've got to be hot with your checking. That's critical. Yeah. So that's before you even travel. And then one thing that I'd like to add also, before you even travel or before you even think about booking your wedding, you really need to be obviously aware of what's happening on the ground and in your own country. But in addition to that, it's like you need to also be checking with your vendors, checking with your suppliers, you know, checking with the hotel. What are their policies on cancellation or postponing? You know, so I think that that's really important for people to know before you even set foot out of the door.
Yes.
I have clients, I have a couple that are in Australia, and they've now postponed not once, not twice, but 3 times now. You know, and they literally are in bits. They cannot travel. They are not allowed to leave to come here. And they have a wedding party of 50 people coming from Australia and also from Europe. So imagine the kind of
logistics
chaos
around it. Yeah.
You know, there's chaos around here. So you can imagine the kind of emotional and also the financial toll it's taking on people as well as the industry. So yeah, so those things are important. So okay, so from before we even set foot out of the door, then the next part. We're gonna find ourselves at the airport. Yeah. So what happens when we get to the airport? What can we expect?
Well, the airport here in Zanzibar, you can expect, or let's say you're boarding your plane, you can expect certain safety measures. Say the minimum that has been reported to me from travelers are masks, face masks, that are just being taken off when you are eating. So that's a minimum with most of the airlines. Some airlines even require you to wear face shields. So there's again the communication with the airline is important. You can expect safety, health checks, like temperature measurements or like filling out forms. And the same can be expected at the Zanzibar airport. Once you arrive here, like I said, no COVID certificate is required from Zanzibar, but you will need to fill out some forms in order that people can track where you have been, where you're going to go. You will be required to wear masks. There will be some health screening that can include temperature screening. There will be sanitizers around, but I would always recommend to carry your own sanitizer as well, just to be on the safe side. You know, if you're somewhere in an area right now where there's not right next to your sanitizer, you have it with you. I
agree with that point, actually. Just the fact that, I mean, there are guidelines in place, you know, there are things to follow, but there's just the general practice, right? There's the general practice of there's nothing wrong with, you know, put the sanitizer in your bag, put your spare masks in your bag, you know.
Everybody is responsible.
Exactly, let's be responsible and let's help to limit this spread. So wear your mask, wash your hands or sanitize your hands, and practice social distancing. You know, that's something that we can all do quite easily, so yeah.
And as you tell, we offer to our clients a safe transfer, registered transfer, and so we can track our guests. The same when they arrive in the reception, we have a safe check-in. I mean, our staff, they will wear the mask, and we have sanitizer, and our staff, they are well trained to assist the guests for anything. We are following the guidelines, so they feel safe in Zanzibar. And say the hotel is an open space, and the room and public area that were sanitized. So I think it's a good point. So and if they want to make a plan for wedding here in Seyyida, Seyyida Hotel is an open space. That is the best place to have to plan the wedding.
Definitely.
For example, for in the restaurant, we have a social distance between the tables. All our staff, they will wear the mask. The guests, they don't need to wear the mask in the open space, just in the reception to be safe, both of us. And if they will choose a buffet, I would like to advise don't choose a buffet because it's not really safe. So we serve only a la carte menu. A la carte menu is a safe service because only one waiter is serve the food directly to the table, and there is other waiter, they will clean the table. So I separate. I will organize it my staff to make the wedding in a safe condition.
That's amazing. So like what? So So, for example, like we're having the wedding. So, you know, we're all set out, we're all spaced out, we're practicing social distancing, we're all sanitizing, common areas are all cleaned and sanitized. But I like that this protocol of the waiters that come to the tables, they take away, and they're not, there's this, you're minimizing the cross-contamination,
Yes, exactly.
which I think is perfect. Yeah. And the guidelines that, that you're working to, they're based on the guidelines that came from, is it the Commission for Tourism?
Exactly, yeah. So that the Zanzibar Commission of Tourism has released standard operation procedures, and those are followed by the hotels, tour operators, everybody who's basically like restaurants.
In the industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They these are general guidelines, and everybody is applying them in their context. Yeah. And which you can see that already now when you're visiting the different hotels. It's different than before, but it's nice to see because it gives you some sense of safety. Yeah. In addition to what you know already, what you mentioned, Zanzibar generally is like you have open spaces. You have a lot of restaurants right on the beach, or like you here, this beautiful rooftop restaurant where there's a lot of air and it's easy to social distance. But on top of that, you have other safety measures put in place. Yeah, that so that just adds up to the fact that we can come to Zanzibar. We can safely do our holiday or our wedding celebration around here, and we're people are thinking of us, of our safety, but also of the safety of our staff. Our staff members need to go home, have been in contact with people who have been traveling recently, but they are still safe, and their family is still safe because they're wearing a mask. They know when and how to wash their hands frequently, or what personal hygiene. They know what to do in case they fall ill. So like all of that is just a well-rounded concept, basically.
I think that's it. I mean, I do feel safe, and it's like my niece and my nephew, not my niece and my nephew, my niece and her father were here just 3 weeks ago. They flew in from the UK, and they loved it here. They had an amazing time. I mean, my niece has been here many times before, but this was the first time here for her dad, and he was loving it. I mean, because imagine the restrictions that you have in the UK now. I mean, at least they can travel. I mean, that's something.
That's something,
you know. But to come and experience this kind of space, natural space, you know, I mean, it was incredible for him, and it was incredible for them after being in the UK, not traveling for so long, to be able to come here and experience this spaciousness, this natural social distancing, and they really had an amazing time. So in that amazing time that they had, leading on from what you were saying before, you know, we have this lovely setup for bars, restaurants here within the Seyyida itself. It's all nice and spacious and open and airy and lovely. But if I'm coming here for my wedding day, you know, it's a celebration. You know, this is a time to have a great time.
Of course.
Yeah, it might not be exactly as I had envisaged, because I have the thought of COVID-19 in the back of my mind, or probably maybe in the forefront of my mind. But, you know, I wouldn't want to come here to be locked down. I'm not going to come from there to come here to be locked down. It's like, I want to go out. I want to explore. I mean, and Zanzibar is an amazing place. How can you come to Zanzibar and not explore? You really have to explore, right? Yeah. So what would you say to me, or to a bride-to-be, husband-to-be, or guests that are coming here that would like to venture out? You know, they want to venture. They want to go to bars. Yeah. They want to go to restaurants. You know, they want to go on tours and trips to see the island. So what would you advise?
Well, most of the places, like restaurants, hotels in Zanzibar, they are open space, they are safe place, and then you can really enjoy in Stone Town, in the East Coast, in the North. All the restaurants and hotels, they are well, what can I say, they are safe. They are following the guidelines, so you will enjoy for sure. And if you want to do excursion, all the tour operators are registered, so
Yeah, so they're all registered.
I want to say that they are well registered, and we can track you easily.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
So I guess you also as a hotel have tour operators that you're working with, and those tour operators are registered and are following the guidelines, sanitizing. Like one point in the Zanzibar SOPs is that the cars that are used by several people, like these transports, they are sanitized frequently. The door handles are sanitized, or even the drivers opening the door for them.
Wearing the mask,
exactly.
Yeah. And I want to remark something about the hotel that I didn't mention before, in case of wedding, because so many people they will be in the hotel. All the rooms are well sanitized, and our staff is always cleaning, and so that is good to know.
Yes.
And in case of symptoms, they can just come in the front desk. We will assist them with the emergency number. We will guide them to the special hospital, and then we also have a room, an empty room, always free in case of symptoms. To assist our clients.
Yeah, I think that's important.
But I'm sure they will not need, because we are in a safe place.
Yeah, I think that's important to know. I mean, and that's where I would really like to kind of wrap things up. You know, it's the wedding is a celebration. It's a time for joy. It's a time for happiness. You know, we want everyone to have a great time. We want everyone to have a great experience of Zanzibar. But the reality is that we do have to live with this current pandemic. And so, you know, it's fine to be informed and all of that, but it's good to also know, like, what's happening on the ground. So what you've just said about the Seyyida and the procedures you have in place, I mean, that's really important, because people really need to know, you know, what happens if I do have COVID-19 symptoms, or if I think I have COVID-19
and
symptoms.
You're here in Zanzibar.
And I'm here in Zanzibar. Or is it just that I'm not feeling well, or anything like that? So, I mean, we all know things like, so if you do feel like you have COVID-19 symptoms, or you're not feeling well, you just shouldn't go to the wedding. You should stay at home and be safe.
Yes.
And Catia's already talked about what you do in the hotel, but in terms of you and the sort of government guidelines, if you do feel like you have some symptoms, what would you do? Because it's important, I think, that that people know what to do. Yeah,
if you do have COVID symptoms, and you're here, it's similar to what she said already. You're gonna go to the front, or you're gonna alert. You're not going. You're staying in your room. You're alerting the front desk about it, and they are, like, according to the SOPs, they are informed to contact the Ministry of Health and their health officer in charge for COVID-19 cases, or suspected COVID-19 cases, and they would then subsequently come, check on the patient, take a sample, and instruct them according to their symptoms, to the gravity of the symptoms. Until they have the results back, the patient will be asked, if it's mild symptoms, they will be asked to self-isolate in that room. Here in Seyyida, you have a specific room, a separate room, exactly, where people can isolate, so they can even be separated from the other wedding party, and stay there in that room safely, and have one direct contact to a medical professional who's then in charge of them. And then afterwards, once you have the results from the swab or referring swab, then they will get further recommendations from the health officer. So that's what is happening here in Zanzibar right now when you have display COVID symptoms. If you have any other health related issue, you can also speak to your front desk. You can speak to your tour operator. They usually have a trusted medical facility that they would recommend to you. Like, for example, with us at Urban Care, we have inpatient and outpatient facilities, and we have a couple of hotels that are alerting us in case one of their guests or one of their staff members falls ill with whatever illnesses is out of COVID. And then what we are offering, I mean, we have people coming to our clinic, of course. It depends on the symptoms also and what they have. But if it can be managed, a lot of people are opting into having home visits, because then they don't need to travel around. They just stay in their bed because they're ill, and the doctor is coming to their hotel room and taking care of them there. So we do offer that, and on top of it, we also offer remote consultation. So we have a secure video portal that we're using, and then people can have an appointment and speak with our doctor over there. If, and then we can see from like ongoing whatever they have. And so that's what we are offering, and a lot of people are cooperating with us, and that basically is covering a vast range of illnesses as well.
I think that's really useful for people to know, just that they know what to do, and in the event of, God forbid, but you know, it could happen that someone can fall ill, or they have an accident, or they do have symptoms of COVID-19. So thank you very much for that. So basically, I think we can kind of wrap up now, because we've talked about all the different stages of getting to Zanzibar, and hopefully we've made it really easy for you to understand and for you to have a really good feel about what's happening on the ground. But before we do wrap up, what's your one biggest piece of advice that you would offer to a bride-to-be or a groom-to-be or guests, or even travellers that are coming to Zanzibar? Dr. Jenny, take it away.
My biggest piece of advice would be to stay in contact and stay updated with the regulations in your country, from your airline and from your destination country, because things are changing so quickly right now, and what is ruled right now will not be ruled maybe in 2-3 weeks. So it's important to stay updated. And regarding your destination country, now here in Zanzibar, for example, I would always recommend, you probably have a point of contact there, your wedding planner, whoever. You stay in contact with that person, because they know the best there on the ground.
Thank you. And
I
Catia?
totally agree with Jenny. So nothing to say more, just to follow this.
And to come and visit the Seyyida, because it's amazing, and it's got great open wide spaces, obviously. Anything else? No? That's it? Happy? Okay, from my side, I also agree with everything that's been said. I think it's completely paramount that you do keep in touch with what's happening in terms of the government guidelines in your own country and here. I mean, that's just a given. You have to do that. Don't rely on other people to do your research. You've got to be on it, because things are changing all the time. But from my point of view, I guess it kind of really links into what you said, Jenny. Because I think it's all about communication. It's about communication. It's about clear messages. It's about understanding the clear messages from the government, or clarifying those messages. It's about being clear about what's happening with the airlines and what they expect. It's being clear about your wedding vendors. You know, what are their policies? What are their policies around postponing or cancellations? You know, what's happening at the hotel if you decide that you have to cancel or postpone.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like that's important.
And that's what I think. I think you really have to ask the questions. Don't just sit there and go, oh, they didn't say anything, it's fine. It's not fine. You need to know. When my niece was coming here, I had to ask her several times. She was traveling with Ethiopian Airlines, and I had to ask her several times, what do you have to do? And she's like, oh, I don't know. She literally didn't know. And but she's forgiven, because she's only like 21. It's all right for some. But so she really didn't know, and so I had to really kind of push her in that direction. And actually it turned out that there were, there's some things that they just need to be aware of, but there was nothing specific that they had to really worry about. So that was fine. But what happened when she got home was she didn't realise that she wasn't allowed to go back to work for 2 weeks, because she has to self-isolate for 2 weeks, and she didn't know. So for me, I was kind of like, well, I thought everybody kind of knew that, but she didn't know.
And that's different from country to country also, and that's changing as well. For example, for Germany, it's changing a lot. There was some time when you had to do that, and there was a time where you need a COVID test upon arrival, and then you're fine. Then it says you need to, like, if you're coming out of a country like Tanzania, you can do a COVID test after 5 days, and then you're fine. It changes right now.
So you have to be
very much. You need to be on it.
Be on it.
And that's it. Just be aware.
Yeah.
In my country, in Italy, you're supposed to do quarantine after you travel.
Yes.
And you need the test COVID, so the people they have to know to take all the information before to travel. That is very important.
Yeah. So it's such a key thing.
We are here to assist them. So
So if you have any questions, just send us a message and, we'll get back to you. If you want to see the standard operating procedures, we can also share those. They're available online. I think I just took them off the Zanzibar Tourism for Commission website. So it's actually on their website and very easy to just take off and view yourself. But if you do have questions for us, then do just let us know. But in wrapping everything up, it's like we really want you to come to Zanzibar. We really want people to come and see what an amazing place we live in. All these open spaces, these beautiful beaches. It's a paradise, and it's a perfect place to come for a destination wedding during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. So we really believe that. And also it's in our best interest to get this industry up and booming. So I think that this coffee chat has been really amazing, and I hope that people can really feel assured about a trip to Zanzibar.
Yeah, I hope so too. And like you said, if there's still open questions, I think we covered the subject pretty well, but if there's still open questions, they, like, our contacts are found online. Yes. So feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for joining our coffee chat. Thank you.